Okay guys, so today we're going to be talking about the philosophy of occupational therapy. And as we're going through the PowerPoint, I want you to have this scenario in the back of your head. You're working as a team to treat a client. Your team consists of OTs, PTs, speech therapists. You're a newer OT, as you all will be when you enter the field. And the team wants to set up exercises and have decided what ADLs or IADLs are most important for the client to engage in. So that might be like dressing tasks, making a shopping list, whatever that might be. They have decided the client will practice the exercises and ADLs or IADLs in the therapy gym. Independence will be determined by the client's ability to perform them in that environment. The client has been observed in their room, and also the notes written by the nurse have been read by the team, but no client interview has been performed. So keep that in your mind. We're going to go through the PowerPoint, and then we will come back to it at the end. So what is philosophy? Philosophy is a framework for thinking, a mode of thinking. It's also a network of assumptions and beliefs, and it allows us to process ideas and decisions. So how does this translate to occupational therapy's philosophy? A philosophical framework has three elements. The first is ontology, and that is what is most real, what is prime reality. This translates to OT as we want to know what is OT's view of humans, what are the most real dimensions of life from an OT perspective, and we're going to dive deeper into this in the next slides. The next is epistemology, and that is what is knowledge. So for OT, this means what knowledge is most important to know and demonstrate in OT, how is that knowledge organized, how is knowledge acquired and used, and what is the view of the nature of knowledge. The last is axiology, and this is what are right actions. And for OT, we want to know what are OT's values and what are the core methods that manifest those values. So let's dive in a little bit deeper to ontology. And this again is what is real, what is prime reality. So first, for humans. Humans are infused with an innate biological need for occupation. As Mary Riley said in 1962, occupation is as necessary to life as food and drink. Okay? So next we have humans and the environment. And the unity of the human system with the environment is not a platitude, but an essential part of the human condition. So we know that environment is incredibly influential to occupational performance, and human and environment are interconnected. Okay? It's a back and forth relationship. Lastly, transformation and health. So health changes as a function of occupations over time. Health is not an absence of disease, but rather participation in meaningful occupations. So this is what ontology means to occupational therapy. The next is epistemology. And this is, again, knowledge. So the primary knowledge for OT is the knowledge of occupation. This is vital. We can know everything there is to know about the human body and its systems and structures, but we must know how those contribute to the participation in occupation. This drives our profession. This drives our practice. Next is knowledge of occupation organizes all other knowledge. And so the most important things underneath occupation are the psychological, social, and symbolic dimensions. And those are then supported by biological and kinesthetic knowledge. So it's obviously very necessary for us to have all that biological and kinesthetic knowledge, but those are secondary to psychological, social, and symbolic dimensions underneath that main driving factor of knowledge, which is occupation. And, we're going to say that over and over again, and it's going to seem like it's a lot, but it is so important. And you will have those times when you're out in the field practicing, and you will have to come back to what is the occupation here, and why is that important, and how is that meaningful to the client. Lastly, our knowledge base is constantly evolving and is fluid, so we must continue to learn, and new research will propel our knowledge base. So this is so important. We don't leave OT school and go out into the world and have all the knowledge that we need. We're going to do continuing education. We're going to stay current on research, and that is going to propel us gaining more knowledge, changing our viewpoints, and continuing to propel ourselves forward. Next is axiology. So again, this is what is right, how do we live in day-to-day practice, and how do we act? So we know skills without philosophy is problematic, so we kind of just touched on that a little bit. We definitely have to have the philosophy and the basis behind our skills to be able to practice in a holistic manner. So first we want to talk about collaborative practice. And this is client-centered practice, and building a relationship is vital. Okay, so we must discover what occupations are valuable to the client and what have been engaged in over time, and what occupations do they want to engage in the future. We have to get on their level, develop a relationship with them, and discover what is truly important to them. Next is occupation-centered practice. So this goes back to when we discussed about reality and knowledge, and what occupation is the source of our profession. Focus is on the occupational performance issues and experiences. This is the center of our practice. Next is context, clients and environments as a whole. So this is a back and forth relationship between the client and their environment. They are a whole picture. They don't exist separate from one another. So we want to know, where are the occupations occurring, who is present when the occupations are occurring, and how is the human body interacting with the environment. This is so important because our environments help shape us, and we help shape our environment. So how do we apply this philosophy in OT? We don't want to conform to how things are done. So you may enter a facility that uses very black and white, straightforward, or unidirectional ways of thinking and practicing OT. We have to challenge that. I definitely saw that when I went out to practice in the very beginning, that there are certain occupational therapists or other team members that have that very black and white, maybe it is like a biological, kinesthetic, biomechanical view, and they're very straightforward in their thinking. So you have to challenge that within yourself and also within your facility in a very respectful way, obviously, but bringing in that bi-directional thinking. So continue to think bi-directionally in practice, refocusing on the philosophy of OT constantly. When in doubt, you can redirect yourself with the following. What are the assumptions and beliefs of OT? What are our core values that guide our methodology? And what is the focus of action and practice in OT? So here's a quote that I like from Meyer, and it is, our role consists in giving opportunities rather than prescriptions. There must be opportunities to work, opportunities to do, and to plan, and to create, and to learn, and to use material. From Mary Riley in 1961. Man, through the use of his hands, as they are energized by the mind and will, can influence the state of his own health. From Ruggles, it is not just enough to give a patient something to do with his hands. You must reach for the heart as well as the hands. It's the heart that really does the healing. So this points back to developing that collaboration and that relationship with our clients. It's so incredibly important, and you'll notice that over time, once you develop those relationships, your clients really start to connect with you and view you as a really important person in their life, and you're able to help them develop their occupational performance and also keep that relationship going throughout their treatment. So let's go back to this scenario and talk about the team. So as we can see here, we're missing that client and occupation-based treatment. That is a huge part of our philosophical framework. So we are assuming the things that are most important to this client. We're maybe not using a solid knowledge base of occupational therapy. And we are definitely, we say there's no client interview has been performed, so we're not working collaboratively with this client. And we're also not thinking about the client's environment. We're not thinking about what their home life might look like or other environments that they are performing occupations in. What do those look like? We're automatically assuming that they have independence if they are performing these activities in the therapy gym. So we have to think outside the box here. We have to go back to what are our values and beliefs. And we're obviously going to get into much more detail as the semester goes on about how to work in a situation like this. But I just wanted you to think from a philosophical standpoint. Why are we not, valuing OT's philosophy in this scenario? All right, thanks so much, and I will talk to you soon.